Hey everyone, my name is Sam and thanks for checking out this video. If you get to the end and enjoyed, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, bell notification, yada yada yada. You know the spiel. YouTube has existed for forever. I wanted to talk about all of the books that I plan on reading in the month of March, which, I mean, I know February's shorter, but I feel like this month went by like really fast, like offensively fast. But I got a lot of reading done. Like I felt like I sort of stalled out near the end of December and January. Like I'm still reading a lot, but it wasn't the same amount for me, and I don't think I was enjoying it nearly as much. I read a buttload more books in February than I was really expecting based on how my January went. So I think a lot of it had to do with that, like, I was more leaning towards like whatever my mood was telling me to read for the most part. But that being said, I'm going to start my month, well, maybe not first, but I plan on reading Wind Witch by Susan Dennard. This will be a reread for me. I read Truth Witch in January? Yes, January. And I actually got an Arc of the Blood Witch at the end of January through my conference. So I've been very hesitant. I don't know what it is about this series, but I read them and then like forget literally everything that just happened in the book. I've read it in multiple different formats. I've read it in like one sitting. I've read it like parceled out through days. I don't know what it is. So I remember being like, oh, awesome. Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. And I love like the sisterly relationship that the two main characters have. And I love the magic. And then I get to the end and I'm like, I don't remember what just happened. Like, oh well, like I don't know why. So I'm gonna try Wind Witch again, and then I'll read Sight Witch and then Blood Witch. And I'm curious because I think I actually remember liking Wind Witch more than I like Truth Witch. So I'll have to give it a go. World, lots of different witch political stuff going on with some witches, and there's different witch powers. So the Truth Witch is truth, and then there's the Wind Witch is the weather, and then the Blood Witch is, oh, I'm just very curious about the Blood Witch whole concept. So yeah. I am continuing along my work through of the Sherlock Holmes anthology, and next up is The Valley of Fear. I think this is actually a little bit longer one. I think it's about 100-ish pages, which like doesn't sound like a lot, but like look at the writing, guys, and they're Bible pages too, or not Bible page, well, close to it. But yeah, my goal is to just get this done by the end of the year, and I've just been enjoying reading one book and just like letting it sit and stew, and so that's what I'm going to do. And I really like the Hound of the Baskervilles, so hopefully that will keep going. Also in January, I did a read of The Girl from Everywhere, well, a reread of The Girl from Everywhere from Hattie Helix, so I'm going to be reading book 2, The Ship Beyond Time. Once again, I think I enjoyed this one more than I did The Girl from Everywhere, just because we get to do a little bit more traveling and like fantasy aspects than book 1 was more, I think, historical fiction-y based, which is just different, which is cool. So I'm very excited. I remember being like such trash at the end of this book and being like, oh, could you just write a third book, Heidi, where it's like just not Nix and Cashmere being like trash cute couple. Like I'm okay with you doing that, or a novella, whatever. Then I'm getting back on my Outlander train and picking up An Echo in the Bone by Diana Gabaldon. Once again, I just feel like it's been so long that I don't remember what really happens in here. But at the end of book 7, no, this is book 7. At the end of book 6, Brianna, Roger, and Jamie and Claire are split up through whatever means they get split up. I don't want to say a little spoil. I'm very curious because they always have like I think it was like 3 books ago, so probably like book 4 or so, 3 or 4. There's Claire finds a newspaper clipping, and it's like the Fraser homestead was burned down and the couple were found dead inside. So she's like, oh, okay, like so we're gonna die in a fire, great. Well, if we know ahead, can we change it, sort of concept. And then it always ends up being like something different and not exactly what they thought, and then just everything else is more hyped up. It's just, I like that sort of foreshadow teasing that Gabaldon does. And actually, I think after this, I just have Written in My Own Heart's Blood, and then I'm caught up on my reread, I think. Yeah, because she's supposed to be writing book 9. I think it's supposed to be like Tell the Bees I'm Coming Home or something like that, but she's given no date for when it's going to happen, because she takes forever to write them, because she puts so much historical detail in them. So gonna reread this, and I'm just excited. I don't know how long it'll take me. It may take me another month and a half, but whatever. Now, it's been about a year and a half, or no, I probably read it last December, so since I read Even the Darkest Stars by Heather Fawcett, another Canadian author. I'm loving that we're finally getting, like, Canadian YA authors. Not a ton of them, but we're getting them. And she actually has a middle grade book, I think, coming out at the end of this year about dragons, and then another book, too, so I'm very curious. I freaking loved this book so much when I read it. I want to reread it, make sure I'm like, everything's fresh in my mind, because there's a lot of like manipulating, backstabbing, things happening that the reader knows that the characters don't know, or things happening on one side that the other side doesn't know but the readers know. Yeah, that sort of thing. So I'm going to give a reread of this so I can pick up all the wandering light and enjoy all of the beauty that is going to be the sequel. This came out in December, I believe, as well, so about a year apart there, and I'm just, I loved the first book so much. I'm almost terrified to read it, but like everyone I know that has read it has said like it's like you don't need to read it. It's just as good as the first book. So I'm hopeful that that is true. And then I will be all caught up on this, and I can be ready for her next books to come out. I also plan on picking up Warrior of the Wild by Trisha Levenseller. It comes out today. This video is going up on Tuesday, so it comes out today. My pre-order has shipped. I'm just waiting for it to arrive, and I'm going to read it as soon as it shows up. I just know it's supposed to be historical fiction-y, maybe a little bit of fantasy influences vibe with a female Viking trying to like, and it's a standalone too, which has made me even more curious. I like that cover too. Like it's very, I don't know how to explain it. I just like it. Also, Daughter of the Siren King and Daughter of the Pirate Queen will like forever make her an instant buy author for me. I will read anything she puts out, like anything. Like Alosa, like, oh, that girl, man, like, she's the greatest character almost of all time. Like one of, she's up there for me. So yeah, Warrior of the Wild will definitely be read by me as soon as I get my grubby little hands on it. I'm also reading The Paragon Hotel by Lindsay Fay. This will probably be one of the first few that I read, in all honesty. I love Lindsay Fay's writing so much. Jane Steele is one of the most underhyped books I have ever read. It's so good. It's such a good retelling. It's so dark. It's so weird. And actually, it's got some really good diversity and historical fiction elements. A little bit of Sherlock Holmes elements as well. It's just really good. So, The Paragon Hotel is another wonderful adult mystery standalone from her. I want to read the blurb because I feel like that's what sold me on it. Is a gun mole with a knack for disappearing flees from Prohibition-era Harlem to Portland's Paragon Hotel. I heard that and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. And then I saw the author and I was like, oh, that's why. Bye. So definitely going to be picking this up like probably within the first few days of March. My nonfiction for the month is going to be The Republic of Pirates by Colin Woodard. I am just like, I feel like pirates have been very, very romanticized. I feel like no matter what time period or geography I was restricting myself to when studying history or reading historical fictions, pirates just always come up. And then we've seen things like Pirates of the Caribbean, which we've kind of romanticized, even as a gray character. Like Jack Sparrow is like, everyone will justify whatever he does for the most part, right? Like we have this just like romantic notion of pirates now. And like reality, like pirates weren't great for the economy in like most places. So I'm just curious to read some actual like information about them, because I feel like it was just always like, oh yeah, and then they, this king died because his ship was attacked and raided by pirates, and you're like, oh wow, that's unfortunate. Anyways, on to the next king. Like they just are always there everywhere. So I'm just really curious to see what comes of this, and this had some decent reviews, so I picked up the audiobook on Audible. I am also very desperately trying to control myself, but I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm so excited to pick up Wicked Saints by Emily Duncan. I got this arc at the end of January. At my conference, I kind of pushed someone out of the way. No. Well, yeah, I kind of did. To grab an arc of this. And then their finished copies are now, the author's gotten them and is showing up, and like, it's like the spine and everything is there. I thought these were just kind of special details for the arc or whatever, and like, my friend Melanie has just like, she made some comment of like, I'm going to say it now so I can say it. I get credit for this, but she's the next Leigh Bardugo. And I was like, boy, that's some like that's a big like statement to make. So very curious. I know it's supposed to be influenced by a video game. I've never played said video game. I honestly can't remember what it's called, but I love that concept, that infusion of multiple different mediums and formats and entertainment. And I'm just, that cover. And it's blurbed by Roshni, Stephanie Garber, Rosamund Hodge, Robin Lefebvre, and Margaret Rogerson. Now, I love Roshni and Stephanie Garber stuff so much. So I'm like I got high hopes for this. Also love like the inside of it. Like they put a lot of effort into this arc. So, and I love this font. It just like gives me these like medieval, almost Assassin's Creed video games vibes, and like I'm here for it. Like just living for it. Something dark and holy has found its way into the hearts of everyone, and I'm just so excited. Oh, I hope this book is good. Oh, I really hope. I really need this book to be good. I'm also really hoping to get to the Arc of Teeling Dreams by Lilian Rivera. This actually comes out in March. I just got the arc, like I said, like a couple weeks ago at my conference. I feel like no one's really talking much about this book, but like it sounds like incredibly interesting. And the cover's kind of misleading, but like I kind of like it. At night, Las Malcriadas own these streets. Nala leads the fiercest all-girl crew in Mega City. That role brings with it violent throwdowns and access to the hottest bodega clubs, but the 16-year-old grows weary of her life. Her dream is to get off the streets and to make a home in the exclusive Mega Towers, in which only a chosen few get to live. To make it to the Mega Towers, Nala must prove her loyalty to the city's benevolent founder and cross the border in a search of the mysterious gang, the Ashe Riders. Led by a reluctant guide, Nala battles crews and her own death to get closer, but when to this goal, the more she loses sight of everything and everyone she cares about. And Nala must do the unspeakable to get what she wants, a place to call a home. But is a home where you live or what you choose to protect? And like, just sounds cool. Side note, if you can hear snoring or a weird noise in the background, it's because my dog Watson took this convenient time to start sleeping and snoring. And he is a pit bull, so they snore. Oh boy, do they snore. I've put off long enough reading Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I've just heard like a lot of like, oh my god, it's good things. I'm trash for this cover too, like the foily like purple background, and like I'm kind of really tired of like the Charlie Bowater looking white people on covers. They're very pretty, but it's very repetitive at this point. But I've just heard like lots of good things. Defiances and Survival. It's supposed to be sci-fi, a YA, and I think I own the first 3 books in the Mistborn trilogy, and I just think the size of them is a little bit intimidating. I know that's ironic considering I'm reading Outlander this month, but whatever. And so maybe I can get into his writing a little bit this way, and then try and give those a go. But I'm really curious about this one. I've heard nothing but really positive things, so I almost picked this book up like 3 times this past month, and I was like, no, you need to wait. You have other books that you should probably get to. Leave this one for March. You're still going to want to read it in March. And fine, okay. So, Someday We Will Fly by Rochelle DeWoskin. Why can't I say her name? DeWoskin. I think that's how you say it anyways. But I thought it was a middle grade. I think I said middle grade for a while, but apparently it's actually a YA. But when her mother vanishes from Warsaw, Lilia and her family flee Poland, that the Nazis are occupying for Shanghai, a city also at war, occupied by the Japanese army. Shanghai is one of the few, Shanghai, wow, is one of the few places where Jewish families without visas can land safely. There with her father and baby sister, Lila must learn to survive even though her mother is missing, even though everything feels impossibly unfamiliar to the refugees who have lost their entire lives. With help from a community of strangers and friends, she learns to keep herself and her family intact, how to speak Chinese, how to scrape together enough food to survive, and how to protect her speechless sister. Struggling to find the meaning of herself in a new life she didn't ask for, and to make sense of the shattered world around her. I've never read a book about World War II that involved anything to do with Shanghai. Like, I knew they were kind of like a refugee haven, but then like whenever we think about Asia and World War II, we're just like, oh, Japan was aligned with Germany. So like I'm just very curious, very curious about this, and I haven't heard anything about it, so I just need to read it and I'm absolutely making sure I get to The Dead Queens Club by Hannah Pinn. This is not a historical fiction. Sorry, it's a YA contemporary retelling of the historical Henry VIII and the whole Six Wives situation. And the people that I know that read the arc of it said it was actually really good. It wasn't what they were expecting, but it was really good. And I'm so curious about this. I know it's a contemporary, which is not normally something I'm into. Like, I also just love the blurb on the front. It's blurb by Cynthia Hand. The little comment on the front is like, when Henry's king, being queen can be killer. Low blow! Low blow! Yes, I'm very ambitious with this month. I have lots of books I want to read, and I think I can do it. I want to pick up The Afterword by E.K. Johnston. I've read the blurb of this in like 2 vlogs ago, or last vlog or something like that, when I got it, but it's like an after situation. Like, so it's like in the recent past, there was this big like over thing, and like 2 people stepped forward and like saved the kingdom or whatever, and it's like the afterwards of that, and there's 2 female characters. I get the sense that there is a female-female relationship, and then it's also labeled as LGBTQ on Goodreads, so I'm assuming I'm 100% right, which even more curious about this. And I believe it's a standalone too, and E.K. Johnson seems to be one of those polarizing authors. She's another Canadian author. Wow, I'm reading a lot of Canadian stuff this month. I really like her stuff. People seem to love it or hate her stuff, so I'm just very, very, very excited to read this one. And I love the purple hue, like, it goes all the way around, and oh, I love it. I am also waiting for my copy from the library. It was shipped, so I'm getting it soon, of Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. I want to read this because I am reading Sky Without Stars probably next month or the month after when it comes out, and it is a Les Mis retelling in space. I've never read Les Mis. I've seen the movie, well, the most recent adaptation, sorry, and I know, or I guess that's not even true anymore, because BBC, I guess, just released, like, a TV miniseries of it. I haven't seen that one with Lily Collins, but I saw the one with, like, was it not Kurt Russell? That Australian Russell, whatever his name, Russell Crowe? Yeah, I think it's Russell Crowe. And Eddie Redmayne before, when he was, like, kind of still new and people didn't know exactly who he was, and Amanda Seyfried. And why did it take me this long to think of Wolverine? Like, what's wrong with me? Anyways, yeah, definitely excited, curious to read this, finally read it. It's so, like, iconic, and I've just never read it. Then I plan on doing a reread of Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian. I just remember, like, bits and pieces of this. Like, and I think I read it probably, like, I'd say a year and a couple months ago. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I have my copy of the sequel, Lady Smoke. So I want to reread this, though, and make sure I remembered everything, because there's a lot of political and romance triangles and betrayals that happen, especially in the last half of this. So want to make sure I remember everything and how it was left before I pick up Lady Smoke. And lastly, I feel like a terrible person because I never got to the arc of this book before it came out, and, like, I got it for work and just, I mean, I bought copies for my work, so I guess it was to their benefit, but still, I feel bad. So, Song of the Dead by Sarah Glenn Marsh. I absolutely loved Reign of the Fallen. I don't understand how it has such a low rating on Goodreads. I think, like, and then the amount of criticisms I've seen that are like, oh, there's drug abuse in there. I'm like, yes, it's there's a drug issue going on in North America. Not just North America, really, but, like, from my perspective, we are having a massive opioid crisis in Canada and the United States, and people are going through several different stages of that, whether that's getting clean and withdrawing or not. You know, she goes through in Reign of the Fallen, the main character goes through withdrawals and she gets clean. Like, and it's not glorifying it in any way, but acknowledging drug use is one of the most ridiculous things I've seen as a criticism of a book. Like, that's just beyond me. So, Song of the Dead, actually everything I've heard says it's better than the first book, which I'm quite surprised. I love the cover of the series. Also, the underdust jacket is, like, the same baby blue, which, like, I wish more books had that. And I'm just really excited. She's going to come back to the TBR and Beyond group. Oh my god, I didn't mention that. Trisha Levenseller is going to be in the TBR and Beyond group in March. So that's another reason why I want to get to Warrior of the Wild, like, as soon as I can get my fingers on it. So yeah, Song of the Dead is, I'm assuming there's going to be a lot about the relationship between Odessa and Meredy, but, like, I'm not sold that her ex-boyfriend, I don't even know if it's her ex-boyfriend anymore, I'm not sold that he's really dead. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. So, I don't know, I haven't read it yet, if that's a spoiler or not. I'm not buying it. That's too clean, that's too simple. No, I don't. I'm calling that he comes back in this book somehow. I'm calling it. 100%. Yeah. So those are all of the books that I hope I'm getting to in the month of March. I think I can do it. Some of them are going to take me a little bit longer to read, like the arcs, because I can't, you know, put the bookmark in on page 50 and then go walk the dogs and listen to the audiobook of it, because it's an arc. Most of them don't have audiobooks. Not most of them. All of them don't have audiobooks out yet anyways. And then books like Even the Darkest Stars don't have audiobooks, so I can't do that. So I'm kind of restricted to just reading at home after work, basically. So I will work on getting all of these books done if I can. And I really just hope I don't put off Even the Darkest Stars, because I already did put it off once in the month of January, I believe. Because of all my traveling, I just was all over the place. So let me know in the comment section down below what you plan on reading this month, and if you plan on reading these, or if you've read any of these, I'd love to know your thoughts. Make sure to check the description box down below. I will link all of these books to their Goodreads pages, and I will also link my social media. If you follow me, I will follow you